I just looked at him and said, "Oh, you're being a worrywart. It'll be okay."
Hindsight may be 2020, but it doesn't help Amy Louthian catch her breath when she sees what the flood did to her home 2 weeks ago. This is where she watched her babies grow into children. This house on Lake Catherine that will soon be demolished was her home.
I sort of have been comparing it to when you have a child and you're with that child every day for 3 years. You don't see the changes that you would if you, say, left town and came back 3 years later and that child is so different. So being here through the flood and seeing everything that we saw, I'm not at all surprised that it's as damaged as it is.
Only 2 hours after waking up on Sunday, October 4th, the scene out front on Old Neck Road took the family's attention away from the back by the lake.
So then we just started watching out of the windows, and it got higher and higher. At 6, we realized that the street was completely flooded. Just when a car floods, apparently all the lights come on and the burglar alarm goes off. So it's making all this noise, but the lights are on, so it's spooky looking because it looks like someone's trying to drive through it.
With her husband and youngest daughter with her, water was rising on all 4 sides of her home. Amy says even then, it still wasn't registering the trouble at hand.
And I looked and thought, gosh, that would be a lot of fun in a raft. Because I was in my bedroom, which was nice and dry, and it was just surreal.
Within the hour, Amy's view of the situation unfolding around her changed drastically.
Then we realized that the water was rising up in the house.
Not just in what she could see, but hear. Sounds she'll never shake.
The next door neighbor's garage door exploded, and their Honda Pilot just shot out of it like a gun. My daughter, who was sitting in my bed, and the bed was up against the wall, which is on that side of the house, just looked at me and said, "What is that?" And it was like a low rumble, like an earthquake. And the chimney sheared off of the house, which was right behind where she was. And that's when my husband and I looked at each other and said, "We have to get out. We will die if we stay in this house." And so I reached up and hugged my daughter so tight, and I said, "We will not let anything happen to you."
Amy's words to her daughter were much different than what she was telling herself on the inside.
I knew we weren't going to make it.
Either die in their house or die trying to get out of their house. Amy was convinced that day she and her family would not make it. But they tried. They got a paddleboard. She, her daughter, and the dog got on the board, her husband pushing from behind. Water was to about right here. They set out this way, hoping to make it to big water, to an eddy for safety. Debris was everywhere. Water was rushing everywhere.
If you've ever been on a surfboard or a paddleboard, it's all about balance. And we were too far back on the board, and we were very tippy. And I knew we were going to fall over.
In what Amy thought were her family's final moments, all she heard were the frantic screams of help, but she wasn't the only one listening that day.
She was screaming like somebody was like killing her. I mean, she was screaming like she thought she was going to die. We couldn't figure out where it was coming from because these trees are high right here, and we couldn't see through here. And the water was rushing so fast.
Help was close. Jason Reynolds and others from the other side of the lake had jumped into boats to check on their neighbors.
We still didn't realize how big of a deal this was.
I was going to ask you, you didn't know?
No. No, I had no idea what was going on over here. Halfway across the lake, and I could see the water over here just rushing just like in torrents around all these houses.
This father of 4, with no experience in swift water rescue, admits he had his doubts. Their boat was small, and the debris and trees between them and the cries for help coming from the Louthians' backyard were big. But his co-captain didn't hesitate.
He just gunned it and put it through these trees.
And that boat pulled up in my backyard, and I thought, that is God's boat. I am getting in God's boat. I am all about the boat.
It was the best feeling in the world because I just looked at him and smiled, and I said, "Man, y'all are going to be all right."
Amy would later learn God had an armada crisscrossing Lake Catherine, all of them packed with neighbors who took it upon themselves to help each other.
So we'd see somebody and we'd yell at them, "Hey, you got them. Hey, do you have them?"
In a flood that submerged and saturated hundreds of homes in their neighborhood, it would take days to learn. Nobody drowned in their home that morning.
Lake Catherine residents, we helped ourselves.
A morning so many lost almost everything.
Every day you get something that's a little bit more real. But every day I have to say, and this sounds bizarre, the good far outweighs the bad.
And sometimes it takes a flood to prove every man isn't always for himself.